Last game for Arsenal.
I don't think I'll do that. I think Glenn Hoddle played the last game in the FA Cup final. I don't think that's going to be the case for me.
Well, I mean, you've had a lot of big occasions, haven't you? You must be determined to produce the goods, as it were, on a stage like this.
I'm going to play very well today.
Positive thinking, Kenny Sanson, captain 12 months ago. That honour today, by the way, goes to Tony Adams. Now, what of Luton, a club with strong beliefs, but positive or blinkered? It's the subject of so much conjecture in football. Their friend or foe policy at Kenilworth Road, their continued advocation of artificial pitches. Indeed, they haven't won on grass since February. Nonetheless, it's always good to see one of the smaller, homelier clubs get to Wembley, and in Luton's case, for the third time this season. Here's Martin Tyler.
Last season's coach, this season's Luton manager, 42-year-old Ray Harford. His philosophy based on enterprising football. It's brought a comfortable place in the league, wins often inspired by the manager's unrelated namesake, Mick Harford, whose personal success brought a first England cap. In cup competitions, Luton's progress even more pronounced until the Simod Cup final, when struggling second division Reading provided a rude awakening. Luton overwhelming favourites, beaten 4-1. The FA Cup offered another route back to Wembley, but in the semi-final it was Wimbledon and Dennis Wise who triumphed. Another Ray Harford dream had been shattered. The manager not helped by injuries to key players, Ricky Hill spent 4 months on the sidelines with a broken leg. Goalkeeper Les Seeley's considerable influence was lost only days before that FA Cup semi-final. And last weekend, Mal Donaghy carried off back at Wembley during another defeat in the league's centenary celebrations. It's been a demoralising time for Luton when so much seemed possible. But on Tuesday, at last an upswing. Steve Foster's winner against Queen's Park Rangers. It will have restored some of that lost confidence.
Ray Harford, probably not the build-up you would have chosen, really, and one or two specific points to put to you. First of all, your goalkeeper. Who are you going to play in there? Because you've left it right till the last minute.
Andy Dibble's playing. I don't feel that Les is really 100% fit, and it's too big a game to risk a goalkeeper. If it was an outfield player, it might be worth the risk, but with a goalkeeper, it's a one-off position.
And you lost Darren McDonough late in the week. How big a blow was that to you?
Very big. He's done a terrific job for us. He's scored 6 goals from midfield, and he's a Michael Thomas type player. I would think that Arsenal would miss him. So we, at the moment, we've had to plan without him.
Stories in the morning papers today that Mark Steen walked out of the camp. Can you just tell us the truth about that?
No, there was a reaction from Mark when he was told he wasn't playing, and that's as much as I really want to say.
Is he among the substitutes today?
He's a sub today.
Right. Now, with all these things going on at the back of your mind, people are probably saying you're the underdogs, you've had all these problems, you've got no chance today.
I feel we've got the best chance. I feel in my mind, we're favourites, only because of the experience. We've got a team of experienced players and quality players. The only inexperienced player probably is Kingsley.
That's Kingsley back. A big day for him.
Yes, very big. Hope he proves it.
Now, Kingsley, your manager Ray Harford has just underlined what a big day it is for you. How are you feeling right at this moment?
I'm feeling very nervous at the moment, but hopefully as soon as the game gets underway, I'll be able to calm down and do my best.
Do you always get a little bit wound up, a bit tense before matches?
Yes, I always do, but especially so today. I mean, I didn't have a good night's sleep last night, and I'm feeling a bit nervy.
You're a Luton boy through and through. Just spell it out for us, what the whole day and the occasion means for the town. Well,
it's such a big day for the town. Since 1959, it's the biggest day, and hopefully we can get a victory to do the best for all the people that have come and watched us.
You're the underdogs here. There's been a bit of disruption in the camp before the kickoff. What do you make of the preparation for this game from Luton's point of view?
Well, we've taken it just as usual. We've had a bad spell just recently, but that's perhaps not a bad thing, and hopefully we can play well on the day and get a victory.
Yes, good luck to that young man, but what an extraordinary build-up for a Wembley final. Well, 10 minutes or thereabouts before the teams reappear. We're going to take a break right now, and after that, a very short break from Wembley on this beautiful afternoon as we reflect on Liverpool's 17th League Championship clinch with a real gem of a goal by Peter Beardsley yesterday. We'll be back. We decided within the space of 24 hours, a rare occurrence. The League's Cup today, the League's Championship yesterday. The old centenary committee couldn't have planned it better. Well, at Anfield, Liverpool needed just a point to confirm what we've all known for 6 months. Spurs, the fall guys, the commentator, Martin Tyler.
Out, space for Beardsley. 3 Liverpool players in the middle, if Beardsley needs them. He doesn't! A supreme goal! It's just the way that Beardsley and Liverpool have played their football this season. He moved away to find the space in the first place, and when he checked in, the curling shot was past Mims. And there it is! Liverpool are the champions. And in the centenary year of the Football League, there can be no more appropriate winners. Today has merely confirmed what has been inevitable from so early in the season. But such is the discipline at Liverpool Football Club that only now will the players and the management accept it. And they know it's true. A 17th title, 8 more than their nearest rivals Everton. They've tightened their own grip on history. We've won nothing yet has been their response to all the praise heaped upon them this season. Well, they have now, and in a grand manner, which has been so beneficial to football in general.
And in 3 weeks' time, the Anfield Roadshow comes to Wembley for the FA Cup final. Well done to Kenny Dalglish, Liverpool's 17th league championship. Well, let's put the focus back on the Littlewoods Cup final here today at Wembley, and our guests, Ian St John and David Pleat. David, if I could turn to you first as a former Luton manager, and this extraordinary build-up they've had for this Wembley final. What do you make of the team selection, all the problems that Ray Harford's had?
Well, I think the important thing is the manager knows his players better than all of us. They've had little problems with injuries. They've had to reshape the team. I think McDonough was very influential to them in centre midfield defence in front of Foster and Donaghy. But whilst Foster and Donaghy are together, they have the backbone of the team. Whilst Harford is there attacking the balls at the far post, they've always got a chance. And I would think in general, the inclusion of Hill and Priest, though it may be far too soon, it will give them a base to play football.
Ian, do you think, woefully short of match practice, about 3 of their players?
Well, Dave and I were talking about this before, and that's going to be the big thing here at Wembley. You know, you're putting players in, Dave, without them having had, you know, the proper backup, as it were, to come and play at Wembley. And the fitness thing might, at the end of the day, catch up with them. But they are looking at a good little football side. You know, and I think both sides, I think we're going to get a good football game. You know, I think it's that sort of feel about it. Good football.
Well, we'll chat again very shortly. We have to take another short break here at Wembley. Then the teams will come out. We've got more to hear from David and Ian, so don't go away. Sunny afternoon, and the teams are about to enter the arena. David Pleat, proud moment for the managers, this, isn't it?
Yeah, very proud moment, but I think it almost passes you by. Your euphoria of it all almost takes you over, and you walk out there, you're almost in a daze, and then when you're sitting on that bench 20 yards away, you can do so very little to affect the whole thing. But it's a fantastic moment and very proud moment.
How do you feel as a player, Ian?
Well, it's a great moment as a player as well, but I would think the managers, it's nice. I'm looking at Ray Harford there because it's Ray's first trip out leading a team, and it's marvellous for him, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, he's worked hard with the players. They're good footballing players. They've got good techniques. They're good and skillful. And he's introduced certain methods into their play. I'm sure he won't be worried by having to change the team. I think they could find some strength from adversity today. They've had to make these changes. And I think that Ray will be saying to them, you've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain. You're the underdogs. You know, go for it. No one expects it of you.
Well, I'm sure there's a few managers that have led the teams out and have been the underdogs, you know, and walking out like that thinking, well, we've nothing to lose. And at the end of the day, walking off with a trophy.
Yeah, and he can also point to the fact that Wembley has been a great arena for underdogs over the last few years. We've had Oxford win this particular trophy. We had Coventry win another trophy last
You remember that, didn't
May.
we? I mentioned that.
And there's been one or two underdogs win at Wembley. So,
and of course, in 1969, Swindon beat Arsenal, which George Graham will remember very well, I'm sure.
Of course. And I mean, with Arsenal winning it last year, I mean, you know, it's a bit greedy to win it 2 consecutive years. I think it'd be a much closer game than people think. But I've got a feeling Luton might need the first goal to sustain them and give them the confidence to go and express themselves.
I must say I agree with you. I think that Arsenal probably will have a little bit too much for them, but as we keep saying this about the underdog theme, that's there today, and I think, you know, people watching at home will be looking for the underdogs looking to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal are amongst a very well-run, thorough club, the elitist clubs, the 6 or 7 elitist. Luton are in that second bracket. They've done marvellous things. They've been alienated by a lot of people because of their policies, and it would be a savage strike for the underdog if Luton can do it today. It'll be a fascinating game. I think that Arsenal will really press Luton and try and stop them trying to play the football, and whether the power can overcome the football, I'm not sure.
Ian, just one quick word about Luton. People have said that maybe they haven't got the temperament for the big occasion. Their Simo Cup experience here a few weeks ago, 3 recent FA Cup semi-finals when they didn't do themselves justice on the day.
Well, I would say this, that I'm sure Ray Hartford has said to them, look, the Simo Cup, we have got to learn from that. I mean, it was a dreadful result really for them, wasn't it? But if they've learned from that, they can come out today and probably, you know, they've got to play better, that's for sure. You know, they can't play any worse than they did on that occasion. And I think you learn lessons from your mistakes in the game. Would you agree with it?
Yeah, I think it's another game, it's another day. I think cup finals aren't for sentimentalists or bookmakers. You know, the ball's going to roll, you know, in a few minutes, and then it's the luck of the draw on the day. Who knows?
David, thanks very much indeed. Ian and I can relax now. David is now going to move over to the commentary position with Brian Moore. And it's good afternoon to you, Brian.
Good afternoon to you, Elton, and to everybody. My guest of honour today, Lady Grantchester, a director of the Littlewoods organisation, meeting first the Arsenal players. Kenny Sanson in the background there, of course, who lifted the trophy here last season when Arsenal beat Liverpool. The Arsenal captain today, Tony Adams, and at 21, I figure he must be amongst the youngest, if not the youngest ever, Wembley captain. Harry Groves with the red hair in the background there, and George Graham, who won a major trophy, this one on a similarly sunny day last season, his first season as Arsenal manager. And now Luton Town, with the man who's a boon to all commentators, Steve Foster, with that very distinctive headband of his. Been here before, of course, when he was with Brighton and Hove Albion, when they were beaten in 1983 in the FA Cup final by Manchester United. The Luton side, which I must say has played some tremendous football this season. You just have a feeling that they may have welcomed an occasion like this maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago when they were going really well. Their form over the last few weeks has deserted them. Ray Hartford, big, open, honest manager, and Joe Worrell from Warrington, the referee, whose reputation is always as a referee who allows the game to flow, which is a good indication. And his 2 linesmen today, John Morley from Barnsley and Mike Taylor from St Albans. And Ray Lewis, you can see in the centre there, is the reserve official. But next we shall have the national anthem. Good atmosphere here, plenty of noise, and overall a very friendly atmosphere as well for this Littlewoods Cup final between Arsenal and Luton. with a look at, as we look at the two teams now, starting with Arsenal, John Lukic in goal, a back four that's missing the injured David O'Leary, such a big influence for them, of course. 22-year-old Gus Caesar takes his place. In the midfield, Paul Davis has shaken off a midweek injury. He came back early from Arsenal's midweek break in Marbella. And then up front, Alan Smith and Perry Grove share the main burden of scoring the goals that would retain the Littlewoods Cup for Arsenal. Now what about Luton? Such big decisions for manager Ray Harford in the past few days, and this is one of them. The goalkeeper, Andy Dibble, gets only his 6th game of the season. There were doubts about the fitness right up till lunchtime today of Les Seeley. The back four that's strengthened by the news that Mal Donaghy is fit, and Rob Johnson is preferred at left back to Ashley Grimes. And then in midfield, where Ray Harford has gambled on the fitness both of Ricky Hill and David Priest. They've missed so much of this season through injury. Indeed, Priest has had just one game since October. The gamble really forced on him when Darren McDonough was injured in training on Friday. Heartbreaking for him. And then a gamble up front as well. 19-year-old left winger Kingsley Black pitched in to provide presumably a lot of width and also a service for the head of Mick Harford. And there is young Kingsley Black, just 19 years old. As you can see, only 10 League and Cup games in the whole of his career. So many players battle through a whole career and never get this sort of chance. He's a very level-headed young man. In fact, only decided to take up an apprenticeship at Luton after he'd finished his school career, which he did with 10 O-levels and 2 A's. The toss-up between Tony Adams and Steve Foster. Joe Worrell from Warrington. Well, Arsenal fans were wondering all week whether the influence of Paul Davis would be here this afternoon. He came back early from that trip to Spain, but he was telling me on Friday that he'd done a lot of training then and really felt in good condition, and it was really just a formality after a chat with George Graham on Saturday that he would be in the side. People like big goalkeepers, they've got him here today. John Lukic at 6'4" and Andy Dibble at 6'2". There's Andy Dibble, suddenly pitched into the big time. Although he's a Welsh international, he played in the semi-final against Wimbledon at the FA Cup when Les Seeley was injured his shoulder. And suddenly out of what looked to be a barren season, an FA Cup semi-final, and now a final here against Arsenal in the Littlewoods Cup. Shirts. Arsenal in their traditional red shirts with the white sleeves. Ashley Grimes, one of the substitutes. And away we go, with Luton attacking the goal to our right. Both sides struggling a little bit for form lately. Luton with just 1 win in their last 5. Arsenal the holders with only 2 wins in their last 9. There's Harford's head. Here's Ricky Hill and Tim Breaker. Steve Foster for Luton, darting it forward towards the head of Harford. Luton's throw. Ricky Hill will take it. He said to me on Friday, yes, it's a bit of a gamble, I know, him playing me, but I'm a gambling man. Perry Groves versus Mal Donaghy. Grove Castle. And Priest unable to get a hold of it. Johnson just tucking it forward. But now Nigel Winterburn came off. Kingsley back for the Arsenal throw. Winterburn taking it. In goes Donaghy first. Thomas. Rob Johnson. Winterburn. Thomas. Trying to get it through to Perry Groves. Donaghy gets it forward to Harford. The little touch by him for Hill. But Tony Adams was onto him quickly. Foster. And Sanson. To the Arsenal skipper. Davis. Rocastle. Caesar. Lift it forward there for Alan Smith. Groves. And Dibble will be grateful for the first touch. Had a very nervous opening, did Dibble, in that FA semi-final against Wimbledon, but brought off some great saves in the first half. After that, Sanson. Davis. Arsenal moving with a lot of comfort and composure at the moment. Danny Wilson. And appear at the moment to have settled just a little better. David Pleat?
Yes, I think the early moments are important to whoever gets the initiative, and I think Arsenal, particularly from Sanson and Winterburn's situation, will want to push on quickly and test the defensive instincts of the likes of Ricky Hill and Kingsley Black.
There's a good shot by Smith, and well held by Andy Dibble, a man bought from Cardiff City. Smith. Harford versus Adams. It hit Adams. Foul on Paul Davis there by Danny Wilson. Arsenal's free kick. Caesar. Just a little bit of question mark about Gus Caesar. I think probably because O'Leary's form over the years has been so good for Arsenal. People suggesting that Mick Harford might get some profit from Gus Caesar this afternoon. Rocastle. The little ball played in there by Rocastle for Groves. Davis. Some space here for Sanson. Arsenal continuing to press in these opening minutes. Sanson again. Wilson. Breaker. Priest. Donaghy. Some good passing here by Luton Town. Very fluent indeed, and a long ball forward for Harford to chase, but there are two Arsenal players there. Winterburn gets it back to John Lukic. 5 minutes gone if you've just joined us. No score yet in this Littlewoods Cup final between Arsenal and Luton. Breaker's header. Brian Steen. Priest. Harford. Pulling back a little deeper. Steen. Priest again. Hill. Delightful stuff here by Luton. Some nice first time passing. Hill. Wilson. Coming to nothing.
At the moment, there's a wind, certainly in Arsenal's favour, downwind. And it's important for Luton to get the ball on the deck and play early passing against this wind, and that's what they've just done splendidly.
So it's an Arsenal throw. Record in the Littlewoods Cup this season, Arsenal. They've scored 15 goals, conceded 1, and won all 7 outright of the games they've played. Winterburn with the throw, and Foster getting up. The whistle gone for handball. Free kick to Luton. George Graham with his hand to his mouth there. Theo Foley. voluble Irishman there, who's such a good foil for George Graham. They've been together, of course, before, both at Millwall and Queen's Park Rangers. Now the free kick to Arsenal. Sanson almost lazily forward with that left foot. Foster versus Alan Smith.
I think Arsenal use the long throw to try and get an advantage this afternoon. Both fullbacks, Sansom and Winterburn, throw right into the box, and they'll try and use the height of Adams.
Well, to that effect, Adams is on the edge of the Luton box right now. And there he is jumping for it, but Foster had spotted that. Crease. And again Arsenal through Davis and then through Rocastle. The ball now for Thomas. Dibble's gone out. Cross comes in and Rob Johnson, as cool as you like. The first real scare, that one for Luton. And once Dibble had failed to get that ball, they could have been in the most serious trouble. A delightful ball played by Rocastle. There goes Dibble. Michael Thomas there looking up, but look at the coolness there of Rob Johnson. Flag up for offside. Ray Harford was saying that David Rocastle is the man that he's most nervous of. Such a talented player on the right side of the midfield. He puts Rob Johnson in as the left back rather than Ashley Grimes, a better marker and tackler, he thought. And Johnson showed commendable coolness there, but he was beaten by Rocastle there. But Kingsley Black doing a good job covering up for Luton. There goes Foster. Donachie and Foster. There are fewer better central defending combinations in the first division than Donachie and Foster. Foster is also the player coach as well as the captain. Foster, and off Caesar, Donachie, Johnson. Sanson, Adams. Richardson. Again. Ball there, straight to Danny Wilson. Davis got him out of the spot. Richardson. Groves. That's a foul.
I don't think Foster will like to get drawn too much to the flanks this afternoon. He'd like to be in the centre where that old headband of his. He's had it the same one for 5 years, you know, Brian. It's a bit of a secret. There's a magnet in it.
Well, they might need it now because Richardson will hoist one high towards Smith and Adams up there. Jones is in there too. And Harford right back to help out. It's a good header there by the big forward. Danny Wilson finding Brian Steen, who's not really had a run at the ball. And now Kingsley Black coming into the game on this side of the field, finding Steen. Richardson after him, and was up, whether for a free kick for the foul or whether it's a throw. For a while we're going to have two brothers here on the Luton side. Brian Steen here, the elder of the two. He's 30. His 22-year-old brother Mark is one of the subs. Right, Tim Breaker then with the long free kick. Lukic, well, he was beaten in the air, and there was an infringement.